Hi, beloveds. Welcome back to my channel. This is Divine Empress, your Fulani sister. Let's say, for example, you remember some things that happened when you were younger or even older that made you feel rejected. Um, let's say, for example, in relationships, you have met people in the name of preference, have expressed how they didn't want somebody of your culture, of somebody of your race, or somebody of your background, or somebody that looks like you, whatever they might have said, it made you feel like maybe they might have expressed straight and be like, I don't want you. But they have said things in a way that made it seem like you were the problem. Or maybe people around you, maybe you had family members or just people that you grew up around that always just talked down on you. They made you feel like maybe you were the ugly cousin, the ugly sister, the sister that the sister or the daughter or the son or the whatever gender, it doesn't really matter. Take it as it resonates with you, but they made you feel like the child who wasn't going to amount to anything. You were like the ugly duckling or something like that. Maybe they did this in a very blunt ways. For example, like they would tell you straight up you couldn't do something. They would come and show favoritism over other children around you or other people around you to purposely let you know that they didn't want you. Let's say if they had candy or something, they would give it out to the other children, not give you. And they would literally tell you, oh, this person is much better than you, this person is much prettier than you. Maybe it was because of your skin color. Maybe you're in a family that most people have a certain particular skin color and you happen to be different, and now they're like, oh, because you're not this because of how you look, you're not pretty enough because of how you look. They project their own traumas and stuff onto you, but you didn't understand those things then. It just made you feel rejected, it just made you feel like something was wrong with you, it made you feel like you're not wanted. Maybe you were in class and you were one of the people that you were the person that was bullied by your classmates, or even if they didn't bully you outright, you just always felt alone. Nobody, you didn't have friends. You would sit down in class and be the one that's completely quiet. There might have been some people who were nice, but they were still not your friend. When it came to doing group work and stuff like that, nobody would want to, they wouldn't voluntarily just come to you or want to be with you unless it was something that they knew that you were the best at. This can be school or anything. Like you've had people that didn't want to acknowledge your worth, didn't care for you, did not give you the validations and stuff that you deserved, and they didn't want you basically unless they needed something from you. Like those classmates, when you were in those classes and you were like excelling in some things, then they want to do work with you and be around you and take what you can give them. If you were like, let's say you were really good at math, for example, then in math class you were like the most popular one because everybody wanted to be around you to be able to benefit from your knowledge, from your cleverness. And let's say if it's outside of school, for example, it can be anything. Maybe you're really good. The people that around you, you do something that is of service that benefits them. Maybe you are like a good child at home. You're so good at helping out with the things at home. Um, Maybe even after you do these things, they don't tell you, they don't give you the credit, they don't let you know like they're proud of you or you've done well. You may or may not realize how much these things that you do benefit these people, how much they really need or impact it. You might be also someone on the other side that you don't, you really use it to your advantage. You use the situation instead to people please too much. You become like under the servitude almost. Like if you want somebody to like you so much and there are some things that you do that will benefit that person, you start to do it more. You start to want to do it more because that's the only time where they acknowledge you, where you feel seen by them. So you start to do it more and more and more, and you start to Like you live in your life basically just trying to please these people, this person that don't really care about you, that they never did. Or you could be the other person that you know what they want from you, and you know when, like you know that when you get to that math class they're going to want you, so you use that to your advantage. You use your skills or whatever, in whatever ways you benefit them, to your advantage, so that you can get whatever outcome you think you can get. But no matter what you did, no matter what you do, you eventually got to a point to feel that you realize that you would never be good enough for this person, for these people. And in the process of this realization, it didn't feel good, because it made you even think of situations that you didn't think were negative. Now you realize that they actually were very toxic. Being in a place where you have to look at the people whom you have cared about the most as people who for years actually didn't care about you the way you thought. And you realize that you've been chasing after their hearts, you've been knocking at their hearts, you've been waving a flag in their faces trying to get them to notice you. When the people who're supposed to care about you the most are the people whom have been against you, that's a hard truth to realize, that's a hard truth to accept. Some enemies are outside, but sometimes for some of us, our reality, our truth was, it was our own family members. It was the people who were the closest to us that were supposed to be our protectors, that were supposed to be our providers, that were supposed to be our guide, that were supposed to be our motivators, that were supposed to be our cheerleaders. They are the same people who basically failed us in in the ways that they're supposed to serve. We have to serve them more than what they gave. And it might have forced some of us to even have to grow up way too fast. Because we had to take on roles that we had no business in. Because those who were supposed to do it didn't want to come in and do those. Not only did they not want to come in, but they pushed it on us. Some might have had no choice but to fit in those roles. Some might have tried to rebel and had to deal with a lot of consequences that added more to the trauma. You might feel wronged and you might feel alone. I don't want to trigger and I don't want to diminish your experience of what you've been through. I know you might have heard this 1,000 times. People telling you to let go. You should let go, you should release, you should move forward. I know these words, like you know it. Nobody has to even tell you. You already know what you should do. But it's hard. Depending on the level of the trauma and the things that you've been through, you don't have to take what I say. You don't have to do what I say. You don't have to listen. But I want to say it anyways. Because I believe that you deserve a life of greatness. And I believe that you can do this. I believe that life has more for you. That is not to not validate what you've been through. What you've been through, your story is your story. The things that happened, it wasn't right. It doesn't feel good. It wasn't okay. You didn't deserve it. The things that happened to you as a child, you didn't deserve it. Can you imagine what kind of heart somebody has to want to hurt a child, to want to harm somebody who's never done anything to them, or somebody that never understand, that can't even understand the things that are happening to them? Can you imagine what kind of heart somebody has to be that kind of person? I want to tell you that regardless of what you went through, you have made it far in life. Whatever happened during your childhood or before this time is no longer your reality. You are no longer the girl in that classroom being bullied, being singled out. You are no longer that defenseless child. These memories might come anyways. I want you to talk to your inner child and let her know what you would have told somebody that you really loved in that situation. Sometimes we have a lot of painful things that happen in our lives, and we might not have had the support to be able to deal with those situations, you know, effectively. You going through something, there's a lot of almost a get over it type of thing. I am not a type of person to advocate that. That's not what I'm trying to do with this message. I'm just trying to trigger something so that you can hopefully begin or to encourage you to go on the healing journey. Your feelings are valid, and how you felt is valid. What happened to you, all of that, in every way that you were wronged, it was not right. It was not okay. But at this point in time, what can you do for yourself? What can you do for yourself? If you lost something that you cared about and you feel sad, it's okay. If you've been through stuff and you feel a certain way about it, it's okay. Allow yourself to feel it so you can release and cleanse all of that emotion out of you. And then just picture like you're talking to somebody you love the most. Talk to your inner child like the way you wanted somebody to talk to you in that moment, and tell yourself what you wanted to hear, and be that person that you needed. When you find yourself thinking about situations that are unpleasant and your mind starts to try to overcome you, think of think of it as think of yourself in a third person, and then talk to yourself. Talk yourself out of that negative mindset. Talk yourself out of that um feelings or memories and all that. Just talk yourself in a way that will help you cope with that situation in that moment. This is what I would suggest to you, and hopefully this helps. This is just a suggestion. There's many ways to do things. You have the support, or you feel like you can try to do this and handle this for yourself, then you try to do it. Otherwise, I do not advise it. I would advise instead to pray for whatever you feel like you might need in order to start this journey. Pray for divine intervention, pray for divine revelation, pray for divine strength and courage for you to begin your healing journey. And then see how life shows up for you and what life aligns and brings to you in order to help you in this journey. But if you're able to heal, that will help you so much. And get to know you, because the more you get to know you, the more your memories will start to come back about like the memories of the things you used to like. You will get to know what you really like and want, so that you will know internally what's not your voice, what's you're not likely to do. If you're feeling just fine and then your mind start telling you something else, then you'll be like, that's not my voice. Maybe your situations, things that have happened to you have pushed you away so much from who you truly are. And now you need to go back and remember who you were, what type of things you liked, and that's going to help free you. And you don't have to do all of this at once. Everything doesn't have to happen all at once in one go. It can take time. And it's okay if you need that. You're not competing with nobody else. You're trying to better yourself. You're trying to heal. So y- however that would look like for you, it's okay. If it means taking like baby steps, that's fine. Any steps you make towards your healing is progress. And that's all you need. All you need is to be willing to try and to be taking those little steps. Sometimes you might take steps and feel like you've gone back, because things might happen that might trigger you again. I want to encourage you to show up for yourself. Do the necessary works that you need to do. If that means healing from things that happened in the past, I want to encourage you to do that, because you deserve life as you were intended to live it on this earth. You deserve good things. You deserve good things. And what's the worst that can happen if you show up for yourself? What's the worst that can happen if you show up for yourself? What's the worst that can happen if you work on yourself? What's the worst that can happen if you believe in yourself? What's the worst that can happen if you believe in your dreams and pursue the things that you want? What's the worst that can happen if you accept life and try to live life as best as possible? You deserve good things. And for as long as you're trying every day, in your heart to live life righteously and do the right things and keep going, life will give you back what you deserve. It's not up to them or even the negative things in your mind to dictate who you are or what you're meant to do. It's up to you. It's up to you. And I know you can do it. I know you got this. I cannot wait for you to step into your power and for the world to see you for who you really are, for who you always known that you are, the great person that you are. Okay? Peace, love, and light.